American who has a Chinese wife that has turned his home into the most uncomfortable place in his life. Let's just dive right into this and see what we got going on and offer some feedback to it. So apparently he's been following the channel for 3 years. He's in his mid-30s, six-figure income. And again, my Chinese wife has turned my home into the most uncomfortable place in my life. I know that I should leave, but I have held out for my son because she had threatened to take him away to China. Our relationship started when she quickly expressed that she had no interest in being physical with me until she came back from a business trip and was all over me. It's a bad start. You do not want to get involved with women that aren't enthusiastic to be with you to begin with. Anyway, she comes back from her business trip and is all over him like a fat kid on cake. Red flags number 1 and 2. Shortly after that, she ended up being pregnant. And yes, I tested to make sure it was mine. Good man, that's a smart move. I took advice from my family, proposed and married her before the kid was born. Okay, and then you put after that, green card question mark. What do you think? Since then, we moved to a new state. I doubled my income, but she was never happy. She got a job of her own and had hoarded all of her money ever since. Finances are extremely contested, and she will only ever use her money for things that she approves of, mostly sending it to her family or travel or on her terms. She still wasn't happy. I built a new home. Still wasn't happy. Somewhere around here was when I first retained an attorney, but didn't execute because of the above. The list goes on. Cars, etc. Okay, so he's improved her life dramatically. She's certainly got a pretty good deal out of this. And she even forced having a second kid with threats that she would find somebody else to do it with if I wouldn't. Wow. Red flag number 7. I truly feel death by 1,000 paper cuts, as every time I concede to keep up with the pace, hoping to make things better, it always ends up being at the expense of my values and would further entrap me in this life. At this point, we are over 1 year with no intimacy, connection, or positive feedback about anything in our lives, and almost every confrontation escalates into fights, but everything and nothing ever gets resolved. From what I know, it's following textbook narcissism combined with contempt. He goes on to say, how do I wrap my head around breaking this cycle? I've had years to twist this and keep myself here being this long. My biggest challenge is the kids, fear of the divorce system here, losing half my time with them, not being able to protect them, being financially thrashed in the process, and losing many freedoms in the next 2 decades. I feel I have more influence over my future by staying together, more involvement over my kids' lives, and once things are contested, I think it will be a bigger challenge. You're probably right. I have done enough math to know that if I keep conceding for private schools, homes, cars, etc., I won't be able to afford to leave. Then travel opening back up, risks can escalate quickly. Okay, let's hop on the road and have a little discussion about our friend's crazy Chinese wife. And guys, just for frame and reference here, I've dealt with a lot of these over the years, and this Chinese wife story is pretty common. You know, the dragon wife, the dragon lady, whatever you want to call her. I don't know if it's exclusive to Chinese culture, but a lot of white dudes end up getting wrapped up with Chinese gals. And actually, it's not always Chinese. I've seen this in other Asian cultures too. And they get turned into these like pussified former versions of themselves. Yes men, you know, if you will. They're required to generate a stamp that says yes on it, and everything she says, yes, 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 yes. You just stamp that shit all day long. And that's not a genuine burning desire. That is not a good life. You're essentially spending your entire life trying to make an unhappy person happy. And it ain't nowhere you to live, my friend. Now, you linked your social. I took a look at your life as it's held out to the public. And as always, it's always rainbows and butterflies. You know, happy pictures of happy children, park, nice picture of the home with the cars in front, all the standard stuff, a random picture of her peppered here and there. And anybody that would be checking that out, that's in the public, that might work with this guy, that might come across him and follow him, would just think, oh, this guy's got an awesome life. Maybe I should go find a woman like that and create a family like this too. And we'll all, you know, it'll all be tickety-boo and fine. But that's the reality of social media. It's a highlight reel too, right? So people only are able to put their best foot forward, and anything that sucks or isn't fun for them, it's hidden and revealed in a situation like this. So what would I do in a situation like this? Well, first of all, the lesson here for the younger guys that are contemplating getting married, having children, maybe like the idea of being a passport bro. Have you heard the passport bro story before, where these North American guys or these Western guys think that it's a good idea to go to a country in Asia or South America? They might have a thing for Latinos, they might have a thing for Asian women, and then they go and do this exact same thing that our friend is doing over here, and they often end up in the exact same scenario. You see, If you don't get your head screwed on right and you don't understand what women respond to, what they don't respond to, how to game women, how to live your life as an unplugged man, as an unplugged alpha, as I would put it, as it's described in my book, then you're going to run into problems like this. It doesn't matter where you get the woman from, you're always going to run into problems like this if you don't know how to vet for red flags and know how to hold frame. I don't think that our friend here was aware of any of this stuff before he met this gal, because I can tell by the pictures the kid is older than 3 years, and he said he's only been following my channel for 3 years, so these problems had begun years and years before that. So unfortunately I don't have a time machine to put you back in, my friend, but that's the lesson for the younger guys. Vet, vet, vet. Make sure you use the red flags that I described in my book. If you don't have the book, it's fine. You can get the red flags for free by opting into my email list. It's pinned below in the top comment. And make sure you understand what they are and the significance of them when you're dealing with women, because a lot of guys want to have a family and children, and they can potentially end up in an environment or a scenario exactly like our friend here, where their home, as he described at the very beginning, has become the most uncomfortable place in his world. And your house should be a place of comfort. You should come home from work after chasing excellence, putting a dent in the universe, doing things of significance with your life, to a warm, loving wife who is enthusiastic about being in your arms and laying with you in a bed, right? Who's a great mom, who's a great wife, who helps, make your life a better place. This guy's life is a disaster, and he's done all the right things. He's doubled his income, he's bought the nice house, he has the nice cars in the driveway. I've seen all the photographs. It looks like he's done exactly what he's been told to do. And again, they tell women different things from men. They tell women, you do what's right for you, girl. But they'll tell guys, you do what's right, period. Now, back to this guy's problem. What would I do? I'd get out. I'll be honest with you. Now, it's going to require some strategic planning. You've already moved states, so moving states doesn't seem to be a problem for you. What I would do is I would take a look at the United States and find out which state has the best laws for fathers. There are lots of resources out there online. If you just start Googling, there's organizations and groups and nonprofits that rank all the states by friendliness to fathers in divorce or in custodial issues and stuff like that. And by default, the first thing I would do, don't tell her why you're moving to the state, just tell her you're going to buy her a nicer house or you got a better job. I assume you can work remotely by the way you described your job. Either that or remote work will either be required or you'll have to get a new job to do this. But I would move to a state that's friendly to fathers if you're not already in one right now. So that would be the first step, because if you're going to get divorced, like you already know, her immediate strategy is, well, I'll just leave the country and take the children with me. And make no mistake, I've seen this happen a lot of times with these Chinese wives. It's not an empty threat. They do it, and there's lots of videos online of guys complaining about it. I think Tech Lead, if I'm not mistaken, a large YouTube channel with over 1 million subs, has several videos where he's talking about his wife stealing his child and basically taking off back to Asia. Now, back to our friend over here. So move to a state that's friendlier to fathers. Consult with a lawyer to plan your strategy. Let your lawyer know what her strategy is, and make sure that you take all the appropriate steps to ensure that you remain in your children's lives, that you can continue to parent them.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the Courses tab. Newer to the channel? Hit subscribe.